Welcome to Diaspora Lounge. Thank you so much for joining us again on another episode. If you're new here, thank you. We're happy to see you. We hope that you become a regular member of our family. Now take a walk in our video library and see what resonates with you. Watch the video, come back with your comments so that we can further these conversations, because that's why we're here. Now let's remember to go in the comments so that we can continue these conversations to change lives. Today, the topic is sexless marriages. What is going on in the mind of the person who is depriving the other, and what is going on in the mind of one who is being deprived? And how do these people's lives look from their own sides? We have female and male members of a panel here, so we're going to hear from everyone. Remember that we had started a topic on erectile dysfunction, and that's what led us to this. Now, we're not talking about erectile dysfunction. We're talking about people who are just withholding sexual intimacy from their partners. Let's get into this. These are the real conversations that we want to have. I just want to play our intro and then we'll start.
First thing you want to do is to regain your power.
And it takes two to tango.
Oh my God, you need to see what she's going through. The husband broke her neck.
Sometimes I feel like maybe the men who are doing this to women, who actually bring these women in under the guise of Christianity, where they were celibate before their marriage, and they're looking at it like, this is a virgin, she doesn't have any interest in this. When I marry her, it's okay, even though I know that I'm not celibate, I've been doing this before, I have experience, but this is a virgin. When I marry her because I want these other values that she comes with, I know that I'm not really interested in her. I'm going to marry her, keep her in my house, she's not going to bother me, she can live without sex because it's really no big deal to her. You know, I think that to me, what occurred to me during that topic is that perhaps this is what a lot of these men think, because we found out that some of them are withholding sexual intimacy from their wives, not because they are unable to actually perform, but they're doing other things. Some of them have an alternative lifestyle, and some of them are just sleeping with the real women that they actually prefer to sleep with outside of their marriages. What do you say to this? What do you feel? Do you feel that it's possible that a lot of women are really not interested in sex?
Well, I do not think so. The only person that you might say is not interested in sex will be somebody who probably has never done it before. That's a virgin. Okay. That most likely might be somebody. Now, the appetite is another thing. Somebody could be a virgin and is yearning to have sex, and somebody might not be a virgin and is not really into sex, does not have the appetite for sex, and the person is a woman. Do you understand? So it's not really it's about appetite. Do you understand? The issue basically with a lot of marriages, as you described, is that a lot of people get into marriages without knowing, especially from the side of the women, without actually knowing what they are getting into. And sometimes that is the bedrock of a lot of problems that you've just described. Not knowing what you're getting into. So that's why sometimes I'm a bit soft especially when you say you're a Christian. I'll say, okay, even though the Bible did not say explicitly that, oh, your wife must be a virgin, what I say to people is that you must have an idea of the sexual appetite of the person you're getting married to. It is necessary before you get into a marriage. You must. Okay. Yes. Yeah, so that's my take.
Thank you so much. Okay, so that leads me to this. You've brought up something else, Ajiri. Do you think that because the person is a virgin, because I have also heard that sometimes the person is a virgin and they get into a marriage, and because the husband has married this virgin, he expects that everything. Oh dear, he does expect that he's the one teaching her everything about intercourse. But sometimes these virgins have now been shown something that they didn't know before, and they now really like it. You have sometimes even these virgins have been the ones who have gone to bring another man's child into their marriage because they now started playing outside. Sometimes because their appetite was not satisfied by the husband, who is believing that this isn't anything for her, but he doesn't realize that this is something that she's been looking forward to, and now she wants to play the whole field, but he feels that what he's giving is enough. So what do you feel about the assumption possibly that maybe a virgin isn't that interested? I know that that's not what Akin said, but he also mentioned that.
First of all, that's total corpus. I don't know. I don't as in it's not true. There's as in sexual appetites that she's a virgin or remained a virgin till she got married is simply as a result of probably her religious beliefs or the values she had growing up, or simply the fear of not wanting to get pregnant before wedlock because of the stigma associated with it. But that does not negate the desire she has for passion. That does not negate the fantasy she has created in her mind over the years. That does not negate that, I mean, the average 18 to 25-year-old woman is things are beginning to be awakened in her. Desires are awakened in her. She's recognizing that she's reacting certain ways to the opposite sex, and she's wanting more, So any man that thinks that because she's a virgin when I married her and she has learned all she has learned about sex from me, so I can choose to do whatever I want to do. I can choose to deprive her for maybe a while. I'm very confident that she wouldn't go outside because if she could be a virgin before she got married to me, she knows how to self-regulate. That man is very, very deceived, though. Very, very deceived. Very, very.
Okay, awesome. So I guess Coco, I think I think my own opinion may be okay, maybe I shouldn't give, but I'm suspecting that people place a lot of credit on the shoulders of a virgin woman without recognizing, as Ajiri has said, that there are reasons for her to have remained a virgin. Sometimes it doesn't mean that this person is actually morally upright, but it may be that for that particular area of life, she may be morally, she may be considering that as something of value because of her upbringing. But to assume that just because a person has remained a virgin means that everything else about them is good, isn't that something that we need to begin to be conscious about? Because we are then making assumptions that aren't real. And I think assumptions are the things that really destroy our relationships. We don't confirm things. We just assume because of one or two, then because this I saw this and that, and then I'm going to assume this and believe that this is the kind of person I have.
Can I say something about this virginity thing?
Mm-hmm.
Assuming that because a lady is a virgin, she has not explored or tested waters, she may just be a virgin technically, as in she has not been penetrated. But it does not mean she's smushed though. It does not mean they've not touched her body. It does not mean she has not had one chickadee boyfriend when she was small that tried to touch her erroneous zones. It does not mean her passions have not been awakened. So any man that deceives himself that because she's a virgin, she's so innocent, she's so devoid of knowledge of sex, you're fooling yourself. Fooling yourself.
Yeah.
Most of these girls that you term virgins, technically, they have not been penetrated. Their hymens have not been, But have they had oral sex? Most of them have. Have they the boo-boos been smooshed and all that? Have they done things that are sexually very, very hyper? Most of them have. Don't be deceived.
I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't use most. Let's say
some of them. Sorry. Before I spoil show for some women, what they're majorly concerned about is, you see this my hymen, it will never be penetrated if I get married. You see that blood, the person that marries me must see that blood on the day he marries me as evidence. But it does not mean they've not done everything under the sun that is sexual.
Thank you very much, Jury, for bringing that to light, because sometimes we delude ourselves we want to make those assumptions because it pleases us to do that. This is what we like to assume because it makes us feel more comfortable. But we are on Diaspora Lounge to tell the truth the bitter and harsh truth so that we can know what we're dealing with, because that we're more conscious and we're more aware, and then we can get to the bottom of where our problems stem from. Coco, what do you have to say to this topic?
Okay, bring me up to speed. As in, there's several dimensions now to the topic. So if you ask me specifically, I'll be able to
All
respond
right.
specifically rather than.
Okay, thank you for. Okay, let me ask specifically. I'm going to ask you, Anthony, this question now. So sometimes women are in sexless marriages and the men are comfortable. They seem comfortable with it. Is the assumption that intercourse isn't as important to women? Is that the reason why a man will be comfortable to live with his wife for 10, 15, 20 years and deprive her of intercourse when it's not that he's unable and he doesn't do anything to fix the situation? Do you feel, from the people that you know and people that you've interacted, do you feel that intercourse isn't that important to women?
I think, phew, that's why I asked you to ask me a specific question, because it's so broad. It's just so broad.
Do
That
you
I
feel that
would,
generally,
it,
you can, okay, no,
generally,
okay, let me rephrase the
no, don't worry. I know where you are. I'm the one that is now trying to just take a specific aspect of the general thing. Now, I will trace it back to upbringing, especially with Africans. Okay, I'm not white, clearly. There are a lot of things I know about them, but I can only, expertly say with most Africans, our generation, our parents' generation. Okay, maybe our children might be different, as in we Africans, maybe not. Now, I do know that most of us did have moms that very few of our moms were sharp, so to say. As in, I had a few friends in school that would tell me they discuss boyfriends with their moms, and you go like, because it's unheard of. During our generation, they don't want to see any boyfriend but a husband. So you do have a boyfriend. Parents don't know about it and not supposed to know about it. You've gone out with this guy for so how many years, and when he's now serious to talk about marriage is when you now pluck him from wherever, and they knock on the door surprisingly, like they've never known you before. But there's some things that I did not want to conform to simply because the society said that. Now, we all grew up in the same sort of society where, and I think as these things were going on, there were a lot of people that sort of upbringing affected, even men. I'm not just talking about females, even men. And I think it's just that upbringing of do not talk about boys, do not talk about girls, that has actually plagued most marriages, at least most of our parents' marriage, all of them. I know you said don't say most. I would say all of them are parents' error. Now, when it comes to our own error, it has still plagued most. Okay. Now, carrying that sort of, when you have this thing, okay, I'll tell you what, I can say this here. A friend of mine, a male, him and I were talking about similar things. That was a few years ago. And he said to me, do you know that my upbringing, Coco, it was so strict that on the night that we got married, I know, forget the wedding night you must do on the night. Most times you don't do. But subsequently, that the mom from the wedding night, because they lived in different towns, came to stay with them the odd 1 week of that wedding, celebration. She didn't go back to the village stuff. He stayed with them for about a week or two. That do I know that he could not bring himself to sleep with his wife? And I was like, you've got to be mad. That didn't happen. He said, no, but that's true. For that 1 week that the mom spent in her house plus. And I was like, why not? He said, Coco, it wasn't like she was in the same room with us. She was in another room, but how can I bring myself to make love with my wife, with my mother in the house.
Okay. So this is
You
how
think that's
how far this thing goes.
so I want to, which is why the perspective that I'm taking it from is to go to, let's not do the softest thing, to go back to the roots of why do men think this way? Why do women think this way? Now, this virgin, when you marry her, she knows. I believe Virgin when she said, because I've also had a friend that said, oh, I was a virgin, she was a virgin, we were both virgins too. Well, we eventually we didn't get married. I think he traveled or something. And he said, one of those days, he said to me, oh, guess what? Although, we were both 23 or whatever, still virgins, sworn to each other. And he told me, oh, but they did everything. And these are church people, by the way. And he said, so that's why when Nigeria was saying that, I was like, that's a valid. I didn't think about it, but it was just her saying it that I remember that conversation of this guy saying, so I said to him, oh, well, you didn't do the main one, but you've done everything. So essentially, both of you went virgins. And he kept arguing with me that they were. I was like, okay, fine. I'm not going to go there. So I think, is that family background? Is that African? You don't understand how deep this can run in the brain. It runs very deep. I mean, if you look at this example that I gave you about this friend of mine that said that he couldn't, and I said to him, "You weren't attracted to her." I said, how can you say that? That was my girlfriend for years. I was only just too happy that eventually we got married.
Coco, let's Tony do this. Tony, what Coco said led me to something else. Now she's answered that question, so I'm not going to put it to you anymore. What Coco said led me to this. So with this ingraining of ideas and beliefs, what it means is that what people believe, whether it's true or not, whether it makes sense or doesn't make sense, they actually carry and act out on these things. Will this be something that could have given men a certain idea of the women, which they now play out without confirmation, where you now take a woman and you are in the house with her? If a man goes and talks about his wife depriving him of intimacy, I'm very sure that people are going to be calling her and telling her she needs to perform her duty, she needs to perform her duty. When it happens the other way around, where it's a woman who is being yes, do people exercise or expect the same level of support for a woman, do you think? And should they? Are these women, are they supposed to be patient? How do you see this?
That's where counseling comes in, because a woman should now take this matter up, because this is what bonds them together besides other things. Now I am having this problem. I have tried to solve this problem. I have tried to talk to my man about this problem, and this is how he sees it, and this is what he wants to see. So now me as a woman, knowing that this is part of my need, I don't know how I can take this matter up to discuss it with an outsider in a more wider state, a counselor, to help deal with the situation.
All right, thank you. Okay, Jerry, let me put this question to you.
I wanted to, sorry, Uzo,
yes.
I wanted to go a little deeper from the angle that you took it from about a few minutes ago. You know that attitudes, beliefs, culture, they deepen perception. And I don't think we've talked about this now, but I think it's very important. You know, there's this culture that we have. I don't know, I think it's more prevalent amongst the blacks, the Africans, where to a very large extent, we have this culture of, until recently, when more like it has gone down and it's almost been eradicated. A lot of the generations that are between 30 and 25 and 50 right now, or 60, actually gone through what they call genital mutilation.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a very serious matter, and maybe it's changing now because Yeah, genital mutilation, where it reduces to a very large extent, where the clitoris is mutilated, and it reduces the sexual arousal of a lot of women. That's one side. So we can go deeper into that. Then the second one is that there's this tendency that our culture frowns on it when women make sexual advances, even with the people that they are married to.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's amongst the culture. If it's even a thing of joke online sometimes, you understand me, when people say, it's a cultural thing over time in the last 30, 40 years, where it's expected that it's the man that makes the sexual move. Forget what we see today. The times have changed, but the people who lived in who grew up in that culture are still being affected by it, because when some people think that it is the men, is the husbands that are supposed to make sexual advances to their wife, and not that it either goes both, that it should go both ways. There's also that tendency can grow in men, that if a woman does not make advances, as in maybe does not want me, or it looks like she doesn't want me, then probably that means she doesn't need it. I'm not saying I agree with any one of these positions, but I'm saying that it could also be one of the reasons why we have that within the age group that I've talked about, because of the way they grew up. They see the men as the one who make the
So
moves.
can I ask you this then?
Hold on. They see the men as someone as the people who make the move, while the women only respond. You understand? It's different now amongst people, amongst the youth now. It's not like, but the issue is that it's extremely prevalent. And I'm not saying it is right, but it's a perception that was very prevalent.
Can I come in here? Also, remember when you asked me and I said to you, ask me specifics because it's a broad one.
Yeah.
And I chose to not, go like specifically to respond. I chose to take us all back to the foundation, because for me, it's pointless talking about the top of things. Let's go back, because if this is going to be beneficial to anyone watching, they need to know this is the reason. This is why all of this is happening. And I agree with Aki fully. He's actually taken it further, But besides the gender mutilation thing, which is a very good factor. Now, for the few people that went mutilated, still you have for the fraction of people that went, but because I do believe that most people that generation, and even my generation and younger, were mutilated. That is fact. I have friends. No, it's true. I have friends that were. I was like, what? But then I'm not going to blame their parents, because it depends on the geographical location where they were born. If you were born in this country like I was, the chances are you were spared that. But if you were born, and how many people were born abroad, by the way? My point is, you see all these issues in marriage, turn it the other way, turn it this way. You can't escape the fact that 9 out of 10 times is actually a cultural thing. We're not talking about sex today. We're talking about the man doing this, doing that. It's all a cultural thing. It's all, for the man, he has to live up to that cultural thing of, don't you know you're the man? I've had conversations with people, and this one I had with someone sometime, and a lot of men, and I asked them different occasions, so why are you thinking this? They said, because I'm the man. I was like, is that all? You're not telling me I'm doing this because of this fact, that fact, that fact. And when I queried them the further, they went, oh, well, Bible says the man had, and I was like, that's all. And I said to him, well, you've lost the argument. So also, finally speaking, it is the culture. Culture in the sense that, culture is broad. When we say culture in an African context, it seems like we're talking about being sat down in the market square by these grannies telling you this is our culture. And don't do this, don't do that. No. But you're picking it up from primary, from school, from your parents, from aunties, from relation, those conversations that are being held within
Okay. Can I
earshot
ask? Yeah.
programs you to
Can
behave
I
a
ask?
certain way. When you,
Yeah.
okay, I tell
Can
you
I ask?
this. Can I tell you? Let me quickly say this. A friend of mine had just gotten married to her boyfriend, though. It's not like, and the mom knew. And actually, I was there. And the mom, that was a cousin, and the mom said to her, because she was walking around naked from their room to the room where the mom was with us. Okay. And the mom goes, hey, go and cover your body now. And she laughed and she was like, Mom, why? Say, cover your body. Yeah, why are you walking around naked? Why are you walking around naked? It was just her husband, herself, and their little baby. Then me, the cousin, and her mom. Do you
Right.
understand that? So the
Mm-hmm.
mom, who is she covering her body for? For her husband, not for her, not for her
Okay.
mom, because
Okay. We're
that's your
getting a
mom.
little
So you
derailed
can
from.
imagine that sort of culture. So that girl being brought up like that, do you understand? If she's embarrassed about her body in front of her husband because of this cultural thing that's been ingrained in her, how do you think she'll be the one to make the first move where the husband is?
Okay, so our topic, let me just remind everybody, our topic is about the woman who is being deprived. The woman is the one who wants it now, and she's being deprived. And my question is for us to throw some light on what it looks like for this woman. Okay, so now,
What
but I
does it?
like the fact that what was that you were saying?
No,
Coco?
no, no. Now that woman, is she being deprived? You know, Andrew said something about a woman, her body, and her wanting and all that. It
Mm.
still brings us back to the culture. She's being deprived. Of course, you know she's being deprived. She knows her body, but it's still that same culture. You're asking, what does she do? She needs to first in her head break loose from that culture
No, no, no,
that she
no,
was
no.
brought up
You're
in.
misunderstanding. No, you're misunderstanding where I'm coming from.
I get your
So
question. What does
where I'm
she
coming
do?
from. No, no, no,
Yeah.
no. Let me
You're
make it
saying
clear.
she's
Where I'm
being
coming.
deprived.
No, no.
Yeah.
Allow me to make it clear.
Okay.
I'm not talking about that woman. I'm talking about the woman who knows and does not want, she's not afraid to even tell the husband, this is what I want. That's the woman I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the one
Okay.
who
So,
is. But
okay.
I do like the fact that you people have mentioned this too. You know why? Because it helps us to understand that maybe sometimes this is what a man is thinking. Maybe he's thinking because it's so prevalent that women don't make any moves or aren't interested in this, the women that he's thinking about, maybe that's why he feels it should be okay for her to live like this. So that's the
Because
woman that I want to
So
talk about.
I've
hold
actually
on.
seen
Let me then
men,
find
I've
out.
actually seen
Are you
men
now
who,
saying? Sorry, okay. Are you now saying that woman that is being deprived, that knows that she's being deprived, that is speaking to her husband? So what's the other bit of it? What does she do? What do we advise her to do? Is that the
No, no,
question?
no. So no, I'm not asking what we should advise her to
I'm,
do because she's going to decide what she's going to do, whether she's going, whatever.
Mm.
What I want us to talk about, what I really want us to do is to throw light on the perception that possibly people do believe that women aren't interested. And you guys have done a very good job of bringing the reasons why this may be so. But I want us to now talk about the fact that there are women who are interested and are in this position, like the one we talked about when we started the discussion about erectile dysfunction. She's been living with it for
Mm.
almost 20 years. And she cries to me saying, is this how my life is going, the rest of my life is going to be? Because she married as a virgin, right? And then she got in with a man
Mm.
who came under the umbrella of Christianity and celibacy, lied to her while he's living his life and doing what she wants. She has nothing. I'm not asking what she's going to do. We're not here to solve that problem today. What I really want us to do is to throw light on the fact that there are people who, because she has told me that she has even begged him and cried, So I just want us to talk about people who are assuming that because of mutilation, because of culture, because of this, maybe some people are feeling, even when their wives are talking, that these women aren't supposed to be making this kind of noise about this because generally they are the outlier or they're not supposed to be in that situation. So I can do what I want. She can live here and be okay with me serving her. Those are the women I want us to throw light on that. And I wanted to find out from you guys how you feel about the existence of such women. And I want us to see. I want everybody to see what life can be for a woman, with the wrong assumptions that we're placing on them.
Akin mentioned something from the onset. Desire. There are women that whose appetites are high, and there are some that has low appetite. He said that from the beginning. So I think it all boils down there. Like I shed light then. If this is a problem, because there are still more years to live, it's better tackled now. If you are the woman and you're going through this and you're listening to this and you've talked to your man about it and it doesn't work, go to a counselor, go to somebody, talk to your mom about it, go to a counselor so that it's not something that is being talked outside. Let your husband agree to go, so that if this is a problem in or within your husband, it's something that has to be arrested quick so that you can enjoy your life. Because honestly, it's a living hell for either party. For the woman, if the man is denying that, or for the man, if the woman is denying that. It's not a very healthy situation. And before you get married, you really have to understand who you're getting married to. I think it should be a good thing to really talk to. Like, all these things has to be talked about, because a marriage that is for a lifetime is not something you agree within 2 weeks or 3 weeks and boom, that's it. No, you got to talk a lot of things. So that do's and don'ts, things that are offs and whatever, before you now can say, yeah, I think this matches me. Or you enter into the thing blind faith and then take whatever comes from it.
Can I make an addition to that? Thank you so much for saying that, because we make a lot of assumptions when we are getting together. And sometimes if both of us are celibate before it, then I can forgive the person for making that assumption that maybe I'm not interested, and even after we get married. So not only should we talk about it before we get married, I think that perhaps we should suggest approaching marriage and our relationships the way we do work, so that we can talk about these things. And because nobody goes to an interview, or nobody gets a job without an interview, right? So that's what you've talked about now, do the interview. But even after that, we also do reviews. We do quarterly reviews. Why don't we do quarterly reviews? Because the thing I'm assuming when I'm entering, I can get into that marriage, and 3 months in or 6 months in, we need to come back together and find out, okay, so this thing that I assumed, was I right or wrong? Is everything going well? Is there anything that we should change? So that way you will know whether or not you are performing to satisfaction. If there's something that you are assuming for, maybe because of the way we came in. Because I mean, if it's a virgin who has never had any kind of experience, she may not actually mention those things before the marriage itself, right? But when we get in, we should start to do those reviews. Aki, you were saying something.
Yeah.
But actually,
number one thing, and a lot of people do not agree with me on this. Even Christian brothers and sisters do not agree with me, but I'm some kind of so to say radical, because I speak the truth and I speak on fact. Because of several things, I've had people who come to me and say, men, because I've had opportunities of counseling couples who come to me and say, can you imagine if I don't make any move, my wife will not even say, and she will turn around and say, I'm not romantic. But let's leave all that aside. What I say, yes, that my wife will not make any move. That, I've had men who come to me and say
That's
that.
right.
Yeah, so, but the truth about it is that what I see is that everything that we have said here has some measure of impact on the final outcome that Uzo is talking about. There's a cultural aspect, the way people have been brought up. And sometimes that situation degenerates. You get what I'm saying? It degenerates to the point where the sexual attraction between the couple start to reduce. But I am not in any way sanctioning that someone should marry someone and then deprive them of sex. I will never, for me, if you don't have any biological issues, you understand me, or illnesses, then it is utter wickedness for you to do that, either from a man to a woman or from a woman to a man. Do you understand me? I do not agree with it. But what I say to people is that the only solution to this is that before you go into a long-term relationship with anyone, which marriage unfortunately is, marriage is a long-term
Unfortunately, oh my
relationship.
gosh.
You understand me? For you to go into a long-term relationship, you must be able to measure the sexual appetite of your partner. Anything other than that will lead to all the things that we're talking about. One, I do not think anybody, so many people will disagree with me. You understand me? I do not think anybody, some people might get into it and get away with it and be good at it. You understand me? They might survive it. But the larger percentage, it always brings up one problem or the other. Don't go into marriage with anyone you don't have an iota of their sexual appetite, or their desire to make love to you. I know several things in marriage can reduce that over time. You understand me? Problems, stress, and all of that. Yes, I know. But at least you would have done yourself a world of good when you know that, okay, this person has high sexual appetite, or this person has medium sexual appetite, or this person has low sexual appetite. And okay, I can deal with it, I cannot deal with it. At least if you go into that, you are 50% there, because the truth about it is that sex is important in marriage. Sex is important in marriage. And if you are not sure about it, why go into it if it's something you're going to do for the next 30, 40 years? That's my take.
My lead to your next question here, Oza.
Yeah.
Is sex for procreation or for or more for the partner?
It's for
just an idea for
everything.
Okay, let's I can quickly answer. For some people, that's what it is for. For some people, that's what it's for. And for others, so you just need to know, I have to get someone who their reason matches mine. If I'm getting someone, I have this reason, and their reason is the other one. It's not going to work. So anyway, I can raise something. I can said something that, okay, so now you said do not get into this relation, any marriage, without being able to measure that. So what I think is really crucial there is, let's understand this now. People have already made this mistake and they're already living in it. They're already living with it. For instance, this lady that we talked about. It's now another thing. Like because some people have said one guy said if his cousin wanted to marry this girl and this girl kept on refusing his sexual advances, and because of that, he told the cousin that you should forget about her, that she doesn't like him, right? But the truth is, we can't make any blanket statements. Sometimes she's doing it because, like we talked earlier, she just wants to maintain her virginity. Sometimes she's doing it because she doesn't want to take any chances of getting pregnant. Sometimes some people even do it because they feel like if I do it, maybe he will see me as being easy. So there's so many reasons. Sometimes it's because she doesn't like him. And yeah, so it's possible, but you need to test. But I think that because we have this cultural and because we because we have this cultural and all these assumptions, we're just going to assume it's because she's innocent, it's because she's naive, it's because she's a virgin, she's a Christian. It's really wrong for us to assume. We need to ask questions, because this has led people down the wrong path and into the wrong marriages. And then you get there and you find out that she continues to not want. And now it's not because of morals or anything. She continues to not want. So, and that's another thing, that sometimes people are even marrying people that never even wanted to get into that marriage, but they end up with it because of assumptions, because we're assuming that because of culture, she's just shy. She's not the outspoken type. She's just quiet. And you keep on pursuing a person who does not want, and they end up getting married. Okay, Ajiri, please. We have deprived you, so please, I'm so sorry. Can you respond to these things?
Bust the pipe, bust the pipe, bust the pipe. Let it out.
Bust the pipe. Aki says bust the pipe.
Okay, so I don't know if you're all aware, I actually have a book called Matters of the Heart, Love, Life, Sex, and Marriage. And I was not afraid to shake tables in that book. And I addressed this issue.
Where can we find that book?
It's on Amazon, Barnes and
Okay.
Noble. It's
All
all
right.
over. Anywhere you can buy books online.
Okay, we'll put the link. We'll
Yeah.
put the link on.
Okay, so men do deprive their wives of sex. A lot of things lead to it. It can either be bitterness on his part. Probably a lot of water has gone under the bridge between the couple. There have been so many fights, so many arguments, so much bitterness and so much quarrels. Some men are that vindictive that it's like, I will punish you. And they know the best punishment to give that woman is to deprive her of her rights and his body. And the woman will know that he is having a field day outside. So it's not for lack of ability or lack of his erection or for an erection problem. Now, what to do? I mean, I heard Uncle Tony say counseling. How many men? I don't know of how many men, married men, their wives will tell, let's go for counseling, and they will agree. Let's be real.
Such a thing outside.
Men will agree to go for counseling, especially when they know they're the ones that are offending you, especially when they know they're the ones that have committed. As far as they're concerned, you are taking them to someone to crucify them. As far as they're concerned, the first thing they'll tell you is, the person that wants to cancel me, what does he know that I don't know? So he wants to take me to a fellow man to talk to me. Maybe the man is his age mate or the man is his junior. As in, you see, first of all, most married men do not agree to go for marriage counseling. Most men do not go for marriage conference. Most men do not read books. Let's face it, the woman is the one doing all the, I'm reading the self-help book, I'm attending marriage conference, I'm the one going solo on my own for counseling. So she's putting in all the work. And the question I ask is, by the time you're meant to be a couple and you're the one doing all the work to try and make the marriage sustain and last, and he's not making any effort, is it worth it? Is it worth it?
What that suggests to me is that there are other things to work on other than the sexual consequences. You understand me? So exactly what I'm trying to say. Most of the time, that's why I say nobody without any biological problem or whatever would deprive the wife. Yeah, I cannot say nobody. Let me correct myself. Some people might, because we are all different. But what I'm trying to say is that majority of the time, when you find that is happening, there are other issues. Especially when the person does not have.
Can I say something?
So you just need to locate that or those other issues and treat them as they should. Do you understand? That's my
absolutely.
Can I say something? Marriage is like a kaleidoscope. There's so many facets to it.
Yeah.
There's the way you communicate with each other. There's your attitude towards each other. Communication is different from attitude. There's your countenance and your body language when you are addressing your spouse. There's are you just kind to him, or you are always on his case, or he's always on your case. It is the Bible, and I go back to the Holy Book. No apologies. It is the Bible that says a man will rather stay on the rooftop than in the same house with a nagging wife. Now, if she has nagged him for years, and he just keeps staying away and finding every excuse not to come home.
May I come in?
Where he said he no longer has any desire to sleep with you.
May I come in here? I think we're missing the point a bit here, because let's assume that we're talking about a sensible woman. Because if I am married and I know that I am not behaving if my husband is not interested in having intercourse with me and he's keeping away from me, the first thing that I'm going to do is examine my behavior. So let's not talk about that woman, okay? Because not only do I not want us to castigate people here or to give people excuses for their behaviors, what I would rather like us to talk about is what.
I'm not excusing the man.
Yeah. I know you're not, but I'm just saying, because when he's listening to you now, he's going to say to himself, he doesn't know that you're not excusing him. He's going to use that excuse because that's what we do as human beings. We are delusional. We will take what appeals to us and what works for what the nonsense that we're trying to do. So let's rather use what you guys were saying before. There are reasons, what you and Aki were saying before, there are reasons for that behavior. What we need to focus on, as always, is the foundation instead of the symptoms. So what is the reason for his behavior? Because I know that sometimes it is because he is not attracted to his wife. He married her for other reasons. Sometimes it is because he has a sexual problem where he only gets off on BDSM or pornography or wanking himself, and so it is not. Yeah, Akin.
If I may,
those also are assumptions.
What assumptions?
All that you have just mentioned, until you hear the other
Yeah.
side of the story.
Yeah. There are assumptions. I'm just saying that these are some possibilities because they have been told to me directly. That's why I'm mentioning them. Yes.
Okay.
Because I did say to you that somebody told me that this is the problem with his wife. He was confessing it by himself. That the reason why he's not able to is because he was not able to before because he wasn't exposed. He wasn't used to talking to women. And so he got into the habit of doing this by himself. So these are the things that, so instead of treating the symptom, we need to get to the foundation. Why is he doing this?
If I may, talking about pornography and jacking off on yourself, most men from watching pornography, many men, sorry, I'm sorry for using, I'm sorry.
Some. Say some.
Please. Some men who have been indulging in pornography since they were teenagers and over time, university days and all that, and as young men, they have a warped mind about sex. So you're marrying this young, innocent woman, this young naive, in quotes, lady, and bringing her into your bedroom. But you already have some kinky ideas in your head of what sex should be. So no matter how much she tries, no matter how much she performs in her own right and within her own capacity, because you as a man over time have conditioned your mind, because you have trained your mind that this is how I like sex, I like it kinky, I like it racy. So you're coming into marriage with this girl, there is nothing that woman will do that will satisfy you. So you might stomach sex with her.
And so such a person cannot go for may not go for counseling because they may not want to expose themselves.
No, he will never agree to go. So you might play along till she has 1 or 2 children for you. She has had the amount of children you desire for yourself as a man, and you know that you want. Let's be factual. But because you had a preconceived notion of how you wanted your sex life to be, and because this woman, she's actually on a pedestal, you know, she's your wife, and you've kind of put her somewhere up there, and you think you cannot ask her to do certain things in the bedroom because you feel she's holy.
Actually, you are hitting gems. You are releasing gems here. You are releasing gems here. Thank you very much.
You feel she's sacred. You feel she's holy. You feel she will never agree to your ideas.
So you don't open up to her.
Because you know you married a church girl. You think in your mind you married a church girl who will never agree to do those things with you in the bedroom. So what do? You go to a side chick. You have the young girl out there who you can do whatever you want to do. All you have to do is throw money at her. She will fling her leg in the chandelier. She will fling the other one. Then you can get anything. You can get her to do anything for you. Now, that is what is the problem. Because you had an appetite before you married this poor, innocent church girl. Let's say it as it is.
Thank you very much. Okay. Does anybody want to respond? Because quickly, I want to say, can we encourage ourselves?
I want to say, are we not pandering? Let me say this. Are we not? I agree with what Ajiri said. You understand? But what I do not want us to find ourselves in the middle of pandering to the extreme. Because what we're saying is that we're talking about a man depriving his woman of sex, his wife.
Right.
You understand me? Don't let us fall into the fault of pandering too much to the extreme.
Okay, why do you think it's to the extreme?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that there will be many, many reasons.
Yeah.
Some of them might be as a result of the woman. You understand me? Maybe a character, and maybe the man then finds